Radio show. I see you. What's up, Commission? What's going on? Miss Polly Jam, the fashion. Okay. And I'm Young Strip on there, man. Young Strip, nice. The Commission.
Internet radio shows, and there's the Commission. Live mics, go open mics up.
I know you want to dig this.
Then go with the drop, mics up.
30 seconds.
The drop. Give me some international drops. I want everybody to know I'm international.
Hey, this is Chong Kim coming at you at Commission Radio, supporting Dr. Ed Gray, and I want to say hi to all my Korean friends. 안녕하세요, 잘 들으세요, and thank you so much for listening and tune in to Commission Radio. Love you guys.
Très heureux de vous avoir à l'écoute à partir de Kinshasa. Nous suivons la radio Comiche à partir de 15h à 17h sur Radio Fishwork, Radio Net. Merci d'être à l'écoute dans cette radio.
When I am in Kinshasa, I listen to the Comic Show from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Fishbowl Radio Network. We are international. We are so happy that you are there listening to us.
And we are so happy that you are there listening to us in Dallas, Fort Worth. You know, this is where we got our start. As I've often said, we are the best radio show from Como to the Congo. So you heard about that, Como to the Congo and also to Korea. But most of all, we'd like to be the radio station that you listen to on Fishbowl Radio Network, where you get your information that you can use. We'd like to send a shout out to a good friend of mine who just recently retired, John McKay. He just retired from WFAA, and you know that's where you can catch me at Inside Texas Politics 9 on 8. 9 on 8. You see how smoothly I did that strip? I put that one in there. Congratulated John McKay, and then still hyped up Inside Texas Politics and Jason Whiteley. Jason Whiteley is listening in to the radio show today, and he's tuned in to the radio show today as much as you guys are tuned in today as well, because we have an exciting show today in which we are going to be talking to Dallas City Councilman Kevin Felder in hour number 1, and also we will be talking to Dallas City Council person Carolyn King Arnold in hour number 2. As you know, in Dallas politics is always boring. Nothing ever happens in Dallas politics. Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Good. Let's move the mic down a little bit lower.
Okay.
You know, we're glad you're glad that you're here here today on the show. You chuckle when I said nothing ever happens in Dallas politics, because it's been a very exciting week, if you will. If you're looking at politics, we had unfortunately we had an indictment of a former Dallas City Council person last week, well this week, as you know. And in regards to that, I still contend that there is a program, if you will, that it appears that a lot of, it's just being honest with you, a lot of things in politics, when it is applied to politics, it appears that urban areas are getting targeted. Urban areas are getting targeted. So the reason why urban areas are getting targeted is because black folk running them urban areas. You know, when it was other people that was running these areas, you didn't hear about indictments or anything like that, but you hear it now. You hear it now. And I've been talking to some people regarding that in particular, and that seemed like it's like a 20-page paper that I may end up doing on it, because God knows I know a lot of the people involved in Dallas-Fort Worth urban politics. And one of the people that I know involved in Dallas urban politics is sitting to my left. He's sitting to my left is Dallas City Councilman Kevin Felder. How you been, man?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, you appear to be in the newspapers lately.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know, I know people, they're gonna ask me, you know, they say, you have Kevin Felder on the show. What is he gonna be talking about? We already got people already texting now saying, indicate that you're the people's candidate, and what people is he talking about? But let me go ahead and get the question that I know that's on everyone's mind. First of all, it's Scootergate. You know, we had Watergate, and I guess this could be Scootergate. What happened?
Well, obviously, this case has not been resolved as of yet, so I cannot go into any particular detail. What I will say is at the end of the day, when I've had my day in court, I will be exonerated. I am 100% confident in that.
Now, you can't talk about this case. It's been litigated right now.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
But what I want to do, a couple of things I do want to say is, number one, I was never arrested. Never arrested. Number two, I have not been indicted. So I want the public to know those two facts, because people are saying this, that, and the other on social media, and you're hearing it directly from me. I was never arrested, and I have not been indicted.
was there a warrant for your arrest?
There was a warrant.
So
I surrendered myself.
you surrendered yourself. So did you have to take a mug shot and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you have to do that.
Okay.
But I did not go inside of a jail.
Okay. You have to post bond?
No, and that's another thing. I was released on my own recognizance. I didn't have to put up one penny.
Now, when you were walking to your car, and Channel 8 and all these other news stations and everything, they had the camera on you. Did you push down the reporter, the photographer?
Absolutely not. Again, first of all, I was being accosted by the media. I should be able to walk to my car from my office in City Hall without being accosted. So they basically ran across the parking lot toward me. And so I'm wondering, well, what is all of this? You know, so I'm trying to get to my car. So one of the reporters put his microphone in my stomach. And I said, move that microphone out of my stomach. He wouldn't move it, so I pushed it. At the same time I pushed it, he stumbled. There was a curb right behind him. He stumbled and fell.
So he fell
That's it.
going backwards.
Yes, he did.
All right, because I was looking at that. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, I'm here interviewing, but when I was looking at it, and I saw the whole thing, and I know how reporters, when they're trying to get a story,
Yeah.
and you're on your way walking to your car, so it's going to apparently look like you're trying to get away from somebody, because you are trying to get away. You're trying to leave. You know,
Just trying to go home. That's all.
But the photographer, he took like a flop, like it was a basketball deal. I've seen some flops in basketball, man, but this one, he fell and everything, fell backwards and everything. I hadn't seen anything like that since Dennis Rodman used to do that for the Chicago Bulls.
Well, I mean,
I know you can't talk about it no more so than what it is. I'm just stating that it looked like that. I wanted to go ahead and get this information out first.
Absolutely.
Because that's one of the things that people asked. They said when I posted it on social media, they wanted to know whether or not I was going to ask that question. Like, of course I'm going to ask it. He's here. Now, how much time is that taking up from your campaign? Has that consumed a lot of your time?
Absolutely not. You know, one thing about me, I'm a very resilient individual. I cannot stay down long. You know, the key is whenever you get knocked down, you have to get back up. If you get knocked down 4 times, you make sure you get up 5. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Speaking of getting back up, we are looking at the Facebook feeds, and Mr. Daniel Wood had made a comment about a people's candidate. You know Mr. Wood?
You know, this man, well, this individual has some sort of obsession with me. If you look at all of his Facebook postings and whatnot, he has nothing but negative things to say. And so since he has continued this, let's get this straight on Fishbowl Radio Network right now. Mr. Wood wanted me to appoint him to the park board, and I refused to appoint him to the park board. That was in October of 2017. Check the Facebook postings, and I have copies of hundreds of pages of him trying to denigrate me because I wouldn't appoint him to the park board. That is truth. That's the fact.
All right, so now what we're gonna go ahead and concentrate on, I've just got that one out. It appears that your campaign has resonated throughout districts, I believe it's District 7, correct?
Yes.
District 7, where's District 7 located?
District 7, it comprises of a number of different communities. We have all of South Dallas Fair Park. We have Joppy. And then when you come northeast, we have the Buckner Terrace area. Then if you get on I-30, take Ferguson Road on the east side all the way up to Oates. Go right on Oates all the way over to La Prada, back down to I-30. Then we have a small piece of Pleasant Grove. If you take Buckner to Bruton, exit on Military going east all the way over to Sam Houston, back down to Bruton, and then over. And then that's pretty much the district.
What do you think is the greatest accomplishment you've had in your tenure?
Wow, thanks for that question. I have several. The first is in my first week, I negotiated $50 million bond allocation for Fair Park. That is going to, we have a public-private partnership now. And so that is going to renovate all of the buildings in Fair Park with electrical, plumbing, sidewalks, parking lots, so on and so forth. And we did a public-private partnership with Spectra. They're going to be hiring from the local community and make Fair Park a year-round venture. And so I think that that's the crown jewel so far of my tenure. But right behind that, also in Fair Park, was Monticello, which you participated in. That is the Thomas Jefferson's Monticello. We were able to secure that exhibition from the Monticello presidential site in Virginia. Now, the thing about that most people don't know, but you know, that I worked on this before I was a council person. So, you know, my participation in the community and service to the community does not depend on me being a council member. I want to serve, and I continue to serve whether I'm in council or not. And so that was successful. We had 82,000 people to attend that particular exhibition. I'm very proud of that. And has put the African American Museum on a higher plateau.
The African American Museum, is it getting the funding that the city of Dallas needs to have?
Out of the $50 million, $2 million went to the African American Museum, and so we're doing some upgrades to the African American Museum in terms of painting, repairing, upgrading the lighting and electrical systems and the chiller and things like that. So they're getting from the bond. They got $2 million out of the 50.
Is that fair?
Obviously, Ed, I would like more money, but you know, it takes 8 votes to get something done around the horseshoe. So that was, as a freshman, I think that's pretty good.
It takes 8 votes to get anything on the horseshoe, which is the Dallas City Council. The Dallas City Council just recently gave a recommendation on removal of the Confederate statues. Could you talk to that point, please?
Well, again, you know, I've been on the right side of that particular issue. When that issue came up a little over a year ago, let's start with the Robert E. Lee statues. I voted to take down the Robert E. Lee statue because, first of all, it is offensive. They shouldn't have been up in the first place. And so I voted to take them down, and we were successful in that. I was on the right side of that particular vote.
Any other issues that you were separate from the Dallas City Council? Because it seems like the Dallas City Council is always contentious about something.
Yes.
You know, it's like how many Dallas City Council people are running for mayor? You know,
Well, actually, there's only one, that's Scott Briggs.
right.
Yeah.
But you know, the fact of the matter is that it's a contentious city council.
You know, What I can say to you is that, there were sides and teams already set up when I got there. So I do want to say this about myself. I am one of the only independent council members up there. And what do I mean by that? There's various groups such as the Citizens Council that sponsor and finance certain candidates. And so they owe an allegiance and they owe favors. I happen to be an independent council member. I don't owe any political favors to anyone.
There's cliques that operate obviously to the city council.
Yes, again, the cliques were there when I got there, and so, it makes it kind of contentious, when you're trying to get things done for the community. I'm not interested in any clique, but, it's something you're gonna, as a council person, you're gonna have to contend with it.
Now, Joppy, Texas.
Yes.
Let's speak about Joppy and the environmental justice.
Yes.
That needs to happen in Joppy, Texas.
Right.
You took a lot of hits on Joppy.
Actually, I, in some people's eyes, I took a lot of hits. In a lot of people's eyes, I took a lot of pride in what I did. So when I got to council, there was a zoning case that was sitting on my desk, and it had been there for about 2 years. It was Martin Marietta and Union Pacific Railroad. Union Pacific Railroad is the largest railroad in the world. They've been there as long as the descendants of slaves have been in Joppy.
Now, what's the name of the railroad again?
Union Pacific Railroad.
Folks, now notice it said Union Pacific Railroad, just a history lesson. I'm a historian, so I got to go ahead and drop this down. Union, reunion, that's also Lower Union, but it's also Union of obviously the railroad, because that's a Union station. And then you also have Pacific. Pacific, that's the name of a street, a major street in Dallas. That shows you the importance and the long-standing history and influence of Union Pacific.
So, Union Pacific owned the rail yard. Martin Marietta was the tenant, and they wanted to put 2 concrete batch plants in Joppy. And so, I didn't know what a batch plant was.
What is a batch plant?
That's a mixing plant for cement or asphalt, and it emits particulate matter. So, so when I first got there, I didn't know what it was. So I met with the community, I met with Martin Marietta, I met with Union Pacific, and several other entities, and we talked about what it is they wanted to do. And so the community was divided about it, and part of the community wanted this, and the part of the community wanted that. And so at that meeting, I said, well, we're not gonna make a decision tonight. And so we ended up going back to the drawing board and talking about it a little bit more. And then I just started researching. I said, wait a minute, this concrete batch plant, I called my friend David Griggs. He's on the Sierra Club. We talked about it, and I said, David, I need some advice from you. I need some information about environmental concerns. What is a batch plant and what does it do? So he started doing some research, and he got in touch with some other people. And so he got in touch with Downwinders at Risk, Coalition for a Clean Environment, Public Citizen. His wife is over Public Citizen. And then the NAACP, I got involved as well. So we created a coalition. People out there saying you don't know how to build coalitions. I don't know how I got that done without a coalition, and I built it. So to the extent that that coalition was built, we decided to go door to door in Joppy, because we found out that there were 2 or 3 so-called community leaders that have been calling themselves representing the entire community. And when we found out